Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yeah, you.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to welcome everyone to our second cohort, our fourth session. Last week we had a debrief to acquaint everybody with the quadratic funding and our Learn to Earn program. Since there was quite an engagement last week, and thank you, Paul, for that as well. We shall be having a second debrief today, and the topic that was supposed to discuss today, we shall discuss it next week instead. I'm sorry if there was a certain inconvenience somewhere, so we shall be having this debrief now. And after the debrief, we shall be welcoming any questions from anyone. Sorry, any questions from anyone. And or further clarifications, you can either ask through the audio or you can put in the chat. After that, we shall be having summits announcements by Augustine, followed by filling out the form, the attendance form for token allocation, as this is a learn-to-earn program as well. So since it's a debrief, we shall be opening the floor to anybody who would like to talk about what quadratic funding is or how ask questions about it, how is it applied, and basically any questions you may have, feel free. This is the time.
Can you hear me now? No?
Yes, we can hear you.
So you can hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Wow. Oh, thank you, Bika. So it is important that we work together in this journey of learning decentralized finance. And I believe that there's still a lot of education, a lot of learning, a lot of, let's say, latitude for learning. So we all get to understand what it's all about. Is decentralized finance, it's not just for speculation. It's not, we're talking about DeFi, not for speculation purposes, but for representing your value in the marketplace. So it's very important. And I tell you why this is critical. You see the finance bill that is going on in Kenya today. That finance bill is not created by Kenyans. And you know something, the Gen Z, Kenyan young generation, have figured it out. As I explained, I think in our meeting, I think on Friday, is that whole finance bill is orchestrated by our colonial masters. Because when you got independence in 1963, we never got independence. Those people just left us, and what they did was to pretend they are leaving us, but then they say that they own us. So we don't own anything in the nation. And even when it comes to even expressing ourselves, we can't, because we are owned. And see, this finance bill is taking it even another level. It's so crazy, it's so deep, you can't even believe it. So it's the things they're not talking about. It's not even about taxing diapers or taxing women's sanitary pads. No, that's not even the problem. If you read that finance bill correctly, you will understand that even the land on which you're standing, the land on which you're standing, where you're going to be building your own house, even we're talking about the environment, the built environment, that land does not belong to you if this finance bill passes. If you buy a piece of land, then you're going to buy it on leasehold. That you're leasing, it's not yours. You're leasing that land from who? From a foreign power. Who is that foreign power? Again, as I told you, these are highly engineered financial projects to make sure that even what you think you own, you do not own it. that you're studying on the land. You build, you know, the way Kenyans are so proud of having a piece of land, Shaba, and then they build, particularly those guys from Mount Kenya region, they have to have a Geshagi home with a piece of land, and you think that's something you own. It's your equity for you. Now, we pass this finance bill, forget about that. That land can be taken away anytime, okay? Because the land is going to be signed off in this finance bill. So the land ownership, we are calling land ownership, is going to come from freehold. And I think that is one thing they did not manage to do at independence. So at independence, they created this thing of freehold land so that natives or Africans, nationals, can buy land and they get to own it, freehold. Now, they found that's another loophole to get us where it really matters, where it really hurts. So they can come now and say, okay, this is not freehold anymore. If we pass our own exceedingly foolish parliamentarians, if they pass that, it means that we come from freehold to leasehold. Now that is the real crux of the matter, because it applies directly to your ownership of anything, because we are anchored on this planet by the land on which we live. That's called the built environment, where you build a house, where you keep your cows, where you keep your chicken. That land on which you live is not going to be yours. It's going to belong to our new colonial masters, neo-colonists. And I explained to you last week on Friday, these things are not new. They have been working on them, progressively finding out how are we going to get back to recolonize these people all over again. So this finance bill is a new recolonization at a deeper level, because the economic colonization actually never went away. We are still colonized. As I explained to you again, those companies you see listed in the Nairobi Stock Exchange are all foreign companies, because whatever you do, whatever money you make or you invest in those companies is not going to stay there. It gets flown out of the country, which is known as capital flight. And because we have not figured out how to organize funding, then at independence, they taught our so-called leaders that time to do harambes. But then they did not, they made sure that we do not know that doing harambe is just an adventure in missing the point. Yeah, adventure in missing the point. And then they call that microfinance, because the derogatory term to say these fellows do not get it. They don't even know what finance is all about. What do we call it? We call it microfinance, microcredit. It doesn't reach the market, the finance market. You see, that's what happened. And as I explained to you, we got that country back, the land, at a loan of $300 million. That loan was not money we borrowed, but we were told that we owe money to the British Empire because the British Empire had created Kenya. Before the British Empire came to Kenya, there was no Kenya. Okay, after they stayed there for a while, then there was this Kenya. And then, of course, there was Uganda. Those are formations of the British Empire, because the British Empire formed those places. Then it claimed that it has the title deed for that piece of land, that 582,000 square kilometers of land belong to England. And if you want to say that you are independent of England, you have to put down $300 million. And because we didn't have any $300 million, we were told that this is a loan you have from us and you'll be paying us for the rest of your lives. And that is what it was. But they made a mistake at that time. In terms of land ownership, they said it's going to be freehold land. I think that was a glitch. And that is what they are trying to repair with this finance bill today. That is why this finance bill, you must reject it. We must reject, because it is now taking us back to 100% colonization as we were before 1963. See that? And of course, our leader there, Mr. Ruto, he seems not to be aware of that. Or maybe he's blinded with the money that they give you, because these guys can give you so much money, you get blindsided, and then you don't know what you're doing. So that is why that thing has to be rejected. And that's why everyone, I'm thinking for all the people, all the young people, must learn about decentralized finance on the blockchain, because blockchain is independent of all those. There is no leasehold on the blockchain. Okay, that gives you 100% independence. That economic independence is what they don't want. So I think it's, now that you've seen what's going on, when I'm very grateful this is happening in this month when you're talking about quadratic funding. And it is time for you to pay serious attention on how this is going to work in the blockchain. It's already working on the blockchain, because it is a true liberation from that recolonization. Because these guys are very, very aggressive. And when I say these guys, I'm talking about the colonial masters. They are very aggressive. You saw what they did on Tuesday, that they are willing to buy your own parliament, all of it, to put money in the pocket among parliamentarians, that they get lost. They can't even know what they're voting. They will say yes when they mean no. That's how bad it gets, because they know that to take control of, to actually take over the land, you only need a few people, members of parliament. And if they voted, and then what I saw President saying is that the executive, remember the government has got three arms of the government, which has got the executive, the judiciary, and the parliament. So the executive, the ones that are going to propose those, those bills, and then it to put them into parliament to get the members of parliament to vote. If the executive is already bought, is already blindsided, is already taken, then the only next group you have to convince is the parliament. And then you can go to every individual members of parliament, and then you tell them, listen, if you don't do these things, this is going to happen to you. So create a story. And so they take control of those people. So they're not voting because of their own independent will. They're voting because they have been pushed that direction, and they think it's a very good thing to do that. See, and that is what's called betrayal. So they can betray their own constituents, their own people, so that they can make the foreign master happy, because the master is willing to promise them a lot of goodies. Keep in mind, this master, this is what's called the Faustian bargain. The Faustian bargain is like making the deal with the devil. The devil is never going to give you what you want. He just shows you bright and shiny products, but it's a mirage of bright and shiny products. For those now ordinary human beings, say members of parliament, who are willing to betray their own constituents, people who elected them, so that they can make, they can make the foreign master smile and happy. They are very, very misguided. They have no clue what will happen to their own people, even to themselves. Because as soon as you agree to do that, see, like, now this brings you to the three temptations. Remember, three temptations are described in Matthew. First temptation, I think we're told that the Son of Man, he was fasting for 40 days. He got so hungry, and the devil showed up to him and told him, listen, why are you so hungry and you're Son of God? Similarly, the devil will come and tell the MP, why are you so hungry and you can just have some extra shillings to put in your pocket? Why are you so hungry? You can just turn those stones into what? Into bread. But the Son of Man, because he was very, very smart, he said, man does not live on bread alone. First temptation. So you can see the members of parliament who are voting for the finance bill, voting yes, have already eaten the bread, because they are told you can turn the stone into bread. Turning the stone into bread is about looking at a difficult situation and saying, okay, you can turn this into bread. So somebody gives you, and I don't know how true it is, hearing that they were receiving $20,000, 2 million shillings, for them to say yes. That's a lot of bread. I say, why? Yeah. But then the next thing they tell you, okay, if you climb at the top of the tower and you jump down, yeah, your Father in heaven is going to set a whole bunch of angels, and they will catch you before, even if you reach down, you won't even hurt your foot. Yeah. So they are thinking that they are not going to stop because whoever is giving them that money tell you, if anything happens to you, your big shot, your master is going to rain support on you. You are not even going to fracture. And of course, that's why they're willing to take that risk and jump. And you saw what some of the people did. After that, they went straight to their home countries, trying to talk to the people, but then they were rejected even at home, because the foreign master is not coming to your constituency to receive you before you fall, and then your foot is going to get broken, whether you like it or not. This is why when people are betraying their own people, they go through those temptations. They are not thinking about those things because they're convinced that if you receive this, your Father in heaven is going to come down and capture you like Superman, and you're not going to fracture even a small toe. Now see what's going to happen. The foreign master will not come down and capture them, and many of them are going to be recalled, if not all of them. So that's the thing. That's called a Faustian bargain, making a deal with the devil. The third temptation, you know what it is, which is now brings us to the real crux of the matter. What happened to this prince of darkness? He went out and said, okay, they climbed that high place, and he's telling the Son of Man, look out there, all this land is yours. If only you kneel down and worship me, worship me, worship me, worship me. So if the Son of Man is not strong, he's going to kneel down and worship, and that's going to go to the Faustian bargain. And in fact, when you get into that level of Faustian bargain, which is now passing that bill, it means that we are owned all the way to the piece of land where you are standing. So that even all the education that you think you have to make your career better is going to be owned. That whatever you be producing, you don't own it. It's owned by what? The foreign master. And that is what I'm talking about. Colonization all over again. That happened in the 1900s. They came in just like that. They colonized us. And then at 1963, pretended to leave. They did not actually leave, because they continue holding the economy, except one thing was remaining. That is land ownership. And now what? A new economy has come. Okay. Now besides land ownership, now they want to own the economy you are creating through the web. The content creation, we want to get to own that too, such that eventually you are held the same way you were before 1963. See, that's a tragic. But it is not all gloom. It's actually not gloom at all, because we have the blockchain to bypass all that. Okay, and that's what makes me happy and very pleased, that we have a blockchain to bypass all that. And we have to continue working as hard as possible to make sure that we understand the blockchain. All you need to do is have a deep understanding, because you can say man does not live on bread alone, and you're able to reject that promise of bread that is not bread. It's a fiction. It's a fictional thing, because the tiny time slows in bread. You are able to reject that temptation of being told that you're not going to hurt your foot, and then you lose your job because you lose your economy completely. And then you are able to resist that temptation of being promised all the wealth on that piece of land when they're actually taking the land from you. See, so you have the power, but this is the key. You cannot do those things if you do not understand the blockchain and its power. Okay? And the blockchain was created specifically for that reason by Satoshi Nakamoto. Thank you, Satoshi, for giving us this independence. That's why we call it economic freedom. So economic freedom is not going to come from fighting political fights. It's not a political fight. It's not going to be resistance by throwing stones, say shouting, or even say it's not going to come from physical say physical altercations with people or the powers that be. All we have to do is look somewhere different. In other words, cast your net on the right side of the boat. Cast your net on the right side of the boat. You see, casting your net on the right side of the boat means that you cast where there's abundance guaranteed and you have faith. Eh? And you will find that when you cast the net on the right side of the boat, it's the same ocean. By the way, the boat is not on a different lake. They're not telling you go from Lake Victoria to Lake Elementaita. They're saying you are on the same spot, or you're on the same spot. All you have to do is cast the net on the right side. Right side means right things to do, righteousness, right thing to do. Don't fall, don't fall victim of temptation or a Faustian bargain. Cast the net on the right side of the boat. Now the blockchain itself is on the right side because the blockchain is the owner economy. Remember, the internet has developed through 3 major stages. So you understand that stage 1 was the read internet, where you could post things on your website for other people to read. And that was in the 1990s up to early 2000s. So that was called read internet. So internet was like a pamphlet, or even say like a textbook. You can just read it. Or maybe, yeah, or even say like a radio station. You can listen to it. But then come 2000 up to 2008, we got the right internet, where now people, and that's known as Web 2. So let's go back. Read internet is Web 1. Right internet is known as Web 2. And that is what has given us that power that has made what's going on in Nairobi possible, going on in Kenya in terms of rejecting the finance bill. It gave us Twitter, it gave us Facebook, it gave us WhatsApp, it gave us YouTube, it gave us Zoom. That is called Web 2. And that internet is known as the right internet because you can contribute content. And it is that internet that has also riled so much the colonial masters. And they're saying, how are these guys using the right internet when they're making money? How can we tax them so that they don't become independent? You see, unfortunately, I think they are aware of the right internet, but they are not aware of the third internet known as Web 3 or the own internet, the internet of the blockchain. Although the internet of the blockchain came in 2008, it is still not very clear to them. Or maybe they are thinking that you do not know about them, that I don't know about them, that we do not know about it. We don't know about Web 3. And then in their ignorance, let us leave them alone and cast the net on the right side of the boat. So the right side of the boat is Web 3. Get to understand Web 3 letter by letter. That means understand the blockchain, understand the wallets, understand the liquidity pools, understand decentralized exchanges, and then understand the funding mechanisms in decentralized exchanges, which is what we are calling what? The quadratic funding. You study. The reason we do this into study almost as didactic lessons where we are teaching you is so that you have that knowledge within you, because it is on the right side of the boat. Cast your net on the right side of the boat. I'll never stop emphasizing that, because the wrong side of the boat is to go back to 1963 and before, which is what the finance budget is doing to us. Okay, and so let's talk briefly. We talk about quadratic funding, but I think because we talked about it last week, I think we should open this conversation to all of you. So that if you have any questions, concerns, because you'd be asking how do I? That's the question. How do I get into and get very good at it so that you can understand the Web3? Web3 is the blockchain itself, particularly the blockchain of money, the cryptocurrency business, how you can understand it very, very well. And that is your true financial freedom. And that should be the new budget. Although the governments are not going to accept that because they know that that is the wrong side of the boat. And that wrong side of the boat is what is going to propagate the colonial ethos for which they have laid upon us for more than a century. This is going to be 200 years. 200 years. That's not just started 200 years ago. I would like you to read a book by a guy called Ed Grover. He said that the book is called Debt the past 5,000 years. So this story is not new. It's been going on for millennia, 5,000 years. So that's why I know it, because I've read Ed Grover's work, Debt in the past 5,000 years. And so I think we've posted that book is available actually even on YouTube as an audiobook. You can listen to it. So you get to know where this is coming from and how it's going. There are some people who have been doing this for hundreds upon hundreds of years. They just like to colonize others. They cannot understand that people need to be dependent and make their own money. And in fact, if we make money together, we all get rich, not some people getting richer and when impoverishing everybody else, stealing their resources. Yeah, it's tragic. Yes. All right. Well, any questions, concerns, philosophical thoughts, particularly all of you philosophers out there, give us your philosophical thoughts about these issues. Because if you don't understand philosophy, then we are going to be caught. But of course, yeah, philosophical thoughts, your wisdom. Everybody is a philosopher. I know that. Yeah, so don't be shy. Let us discuss, open conversation, questions. So, Vika, what are your philosophical thoughts on these matters?
Um,
Well, one thing is that let's make it easier. We are talking about environmental health. If we are talking even about, say, planting trees or even keeping cows, taking care of, and we know that this land doesn't even belong to us. We, you see, because they are not telling us, they're hiding it in that text of that because the budget is hypertext, HTTP hypertext document. But they think we don't know. Then there's a lot of us. There are people out there who are smart. They study these things and they know. And then yeah. So what I think is that the philosophical thoughts, I think, would be about how we safeguard the environment without giving it away, and figuring out how to organize ourselves so that we can fund our own environment, and our own environment become healthy so we cannot destroy people. These budgets like that, they are not even concerned about the environment. What those guys are concerned about is the resources the country can have and the people, the amount of money they can milk from the people. You see, that money that we are being told that we need to pay taxes, now coming to about 36%. I heard the president saying that Kenyans have been socialized to pay little taxes. Could not believe it. Kenyans have been socialized. Like we are socialized to pay very little taxes. And so we think that people should pay these little taxes. You know, that whole thing is a complete lie. People don't pay all that taxes anywhere. 36% is not a little tax. Taxing diapers for babies is egregious kind of taxation. Taxing women's sanitary pads is not little tax. It's like, what is that? Yeah. So even when you listen to someone say stuff like that, you want to throw up right away and say, oh my goodness, like you just get a bad reaction in the stomach. Yeah. It's because it is not to say that such a person does not have a small babies in his family. Even mothers who are gonna need diapers to take care of small babies, or even women or girls in the girls in the family who need sanitary pads, and women, even aunties, grandmothers, not even grandmothers, or let's say women in the family. So it is very insensitive or say incensed type of thing to say that we are socialized to pay little taxes. I don't think we are socialized to pay little taxes. I'm not against taxation. It's not that we're even socialized to pay a little taxes. It is that the tax base, it's called the tax bracket, the tax base, the base that's supporting the tax in the country, the tax revenue in the country, is very, very small. The people who pay taxes in the country are very few. Why? Because the people who collect taxes do not even recognize the people who can pay taxes. They don't identify them. So they're outside. Those people are called extra legal. And that's what we've been talking about from the beginning. Extra legal. They're extra legal, meaning that they are not legally recognized as taxpayers. Because the legal taxpayers are very, very few and far between. And those, because they are very few, then this tax burden, this 36% tax increase, is going to fall upon the very few. That is called lazy thinking. Because instead of increasing the tax burden to the very few, the most smart thing to do is to expand the tax base. It was saying that the pyramid is not supported by a small base. You have to build a wide base for the pyramid if you want your pyramid to go up very high. So because they are too lazy to do the work required to expand the tax base, then they're always collecting taxes from the same people. Who can tell me what is the metaphorical description of that problem using a street lamp? You got it. It's known as street lamp syndrome. Let me tell you a story about the street lamp. The street lamp. One day, a policeman was doing his, the night walk, just doing the beat. The policeman, they call it the beat. He's walking around in the city, and the city have got street lamps. It's at night, and he finds a guy on his knees, crawling around, looking under the street lights. Looking under the street light. Then he stops and asks the guy, "Hello, and why are you crawling around, creeping around here under the street lights?" The guy, actually, we're told that he was kind of inebriated, or he was drunk. But I think he wasn't drunk. He was just a normal guy with fully conscious. He is crawling on his all fours, and he is looking for something. Then the policeman asked him, "And what are you looking for?" He said, "I am looking for the keys to my apartment." So the policeman said, "Maybe I can help you to look for these keys." Because then the policeman also went on his knees, and they went looking and looking and looking. And then the policeman, after they have looked every inch under that street light, the policeman asked him, "Are you sure this is where you lost your keys?" He said, "No, I am not sure. I'm not dealing with them here." He said, "Okay, and why are you looking for them here?" "Because this is where there's light." The policeman said, "Okay, so you're looking for the keys because there's light at that street light." He said, "Yeah, that's logical. I'm looking for a street light. I'm looking for my keys under this street light because that is where there's light." So, similar thing. The government is looking for taxes among people who already pay taxes because that's where there's light. But the taxes, the money in the nation is not only under those people who under the lights. The tax base, which they already have right now. Let me tell you something about tax base in Kenya. And if you can count those, you can look at that in statistical you will find that the people who pay tax are only maybe 11%. 11% of the taxable population. Meaning what? That 89% of the taxable population is untaxed. But because of this street-like phenomenon, the taxman, which is called Zakayo in English, Zakayo himself is only concerned about collecting taxes to the already people he collects taxes from. And instead of going out there saying that, where are your taxes? The taxes are outside in that 89%. Instead of going to the 89%, Zakayo says, let us increase the taxation to the already taxed people, so that, yeah, those are the people who are holding the government down because they're not paying taxes. It's only the people are not paying taxes. It's the people who should pay taxes are in the darkness. And that's what we talk about all the time. That is what's known as dead capital. That money that should be taxed is in the dead capital, those citadels of dead capital. And they cannot find that money until it comes to their consciousness that the money to expand that tax base is in where? In the dead capital. And how do you bring that dead capital to life? Precisely what we are doing. We're trying to first of all understand it and its quantity, and then mobilizing money. You cannot mobilize dead capital by creating funny transitory projects like building houses. You know why? A house is not a source of revenue for anybody. Maybe watu wa mjengo, when they're doing construction, they're paid, but the construction is not permanent. Construction is only a transitory period. Comes in, maybe you could be on a construction job into a mjengo for 6 months, maybe 1 year the longest, and then the job is finished. After that, you're hoping there are some people who are going to settle in those houses. Now, why is such a ridiculous idea? It doesn't make sense, is that those people who are going to occupy those houses, with what money shall they be paying rent? So constructing houses is not the solution to tax problem. See, so you cannot borrow money to construct people's houses, because what you do is an institute leader is to create manufacturing process, increase productivity of the people, create jobs people can do, and those jobs people using their knowledge to create things. When they create things, they can sell those things into the market. When they sell those things into the market, then they can buy the houses anywhere they want. But it's not your job to build a house for anybody. People can build themselves houses so long as they are paid good salary. People can go and rent houses wherever they want if you give them good salary. But you cannot come and tell them that you're going to build houses so you're going to be happy. House is not what people need. What people need is liquidity, money in their pocket, so they can actually afford to pay rent, and to buy food, and to have entertainment, and to actually actualize themselves. So you can see that the problem with trying to collect more taxes from people, so you can do even more projects that are not grounded, is that's known as a street light phenomenon. It's a phenomenal street light. That's why you can see, instead of another, I think for the young generation, because this is your future, is that the next thing, you don't want that to happen. You want to create an economy where we creating jobs, it's not even the jobs that matter so much. It's creating the manufacturing process, creating industry, let's say, creating industries that can now create products and employment and a lot of things to do. So that is going to be possible with decentralized finance, and particularly with quadratic funding mechanism. Yeah. So that is this way I understand economy, and it's not going to be from taxing taxing even more. They already tax people. They already hyper tax people. by even lying to them that they've been socialized to believe that they are not taxed enough. That is very it's what do you call it? Very misguided. I don't even think. I don't know. Would he be saying something like that, or maybe somebody told him, or does he believe it, or does he know it, or maybe he has no clue, cluelessness. People are already hyper-taxed, but it's only very few people. Okay, so what else? Any other contributions? Frida, what do you think about all these matters in terms of environmental health? Is Frida with us? No, she's not there. People are quite silent. So I think the question we would ask going forward is how do we use blockchain quadratic funding? I think what we want to do after that long monologue from me, let us discuss. I mean, we can ask random questions to random people. What their understanding of quadratic funding and how we will use it to overcome this quagmire. Let's get out of this quagmire. Let's say to cast the net on the right side of the boat. So, Becca, how do you think we can do that? To use quadratic funding to cast the net on the right side of the boat.
Can you repeat the question, please? Use quadratic funding in terms of environmental health.
Yeah, to cast our net on the right side of the boat, so we don't go to that left side, the left side where we left it a long time ago. Think about
I'm so
planting.
tired.
Huh? For every tree planted,
the person gets a token.
Gets a token, but we want to raise funding with that tree. So, and you see, this is going to make sense a lot if we don't succumb to this budget, which is going to make the land to be taken away through this leasehold mechanism. Is that for every tree planted, that is represented on the market with a token. And so if it's represented in the market with a token, then you can get other people outside who are not there to support that tree by buying other tokens in the marketplace to provide liquidity for that tree. Okay, this means that buying tokens is like donating to the tree planting. And what's called quadratic funding is that's going to be token squared. For example, if you get 10 tokens, for say if we plant 10 trees, somebody plants 10 trees, gets 10 tokens, and then you could say a benefactor, say a philanthropist can buy 10 tokens squared. This means buys tokens 10 squared is what $100 worth of tokens to support that tree. Or to support the 10 trees. That's the mechanism about it. So we have not yet created a website application where this can be happening. But this month of July, that's what we're working on. And when we start mobilizing funding actually in earnest, so that people can actually buy those tokens online. They can buy those tokens online, and when they buy them, then oh, I'm sneezing. They buy those tokens online, and then that money can be used to support the trees. That's quadratic funding. So maybe people have questions about that, because what questions? What questions would you have about it? Anyone? Questions?
Maybe I may have one.
Mhm.
How would we go about raising that awareness to the community, and investors about our quadratic funding harambe?
Okay. I have multi-modalities, many modalities of awareness creation. And beginning with the funniest ones. The funniest one, you can organize a dance for the young people. People meet to dance, tell them, okay, now we're announcing, stop, wait a minute, this dance for quadratic one. But that's funny, that's a joke. Organizing this is through educating the people in the community. The people who will be planting trees, they need to be educated about it so that we can tell them what it's about, so they can actually reach out to people out there in the community where they belong, and even outside, to ask them to participate. It's just like in any Harambe, how do you raise awareness? Then, for the second way is to use the social media. We do social media communication aggressively. So on the social media, you begin with WhatsApp, then you can go to Facebook and LinkedIn, Twitter, and so this has to be organized in terms of communicating that message so that we can reach to them now.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
I was referring in terms of people in the rural areas, those that do not have access to smartphone, even for the token allocation.
Oh yeah, those ones are very. Well, first of all, there's nobody without a phone. Well, some people who don't have smartphone, and they have what's called the USSDI phone. USSDI Mlikamwizi. There's still one group of people we haven't talked with. The Selo Foundation. Selo Foundation has created a blockchain wallet accessible on the USSDI. You know, the feature phone called the USSDI USSDI crypto wallet. So it means it means that there is nobody today who does not have access to a blockchain wallet because Silo has done that. So I think by the time we're doing this, even in the rural areas, we want to work with people. We want to have found Stellar Foundation. The USSDI wallet or by Silo Foundation works exactly the same as M-Pesa. Okay, you see, M-Pesa is a wallet, it's a digital wallet, and M-Pesa is such a great innovation. Yes, has enabled people to receive and transact money, even to store money for a while. So Silo Foundation has built that. Yes, I think that answers the question. Does it, Becca?
Yes, yes, it does.
Yeah. So I think we want to get into because Silo is already there in Nairobi. It's important that we get Silo and and in any case, even without getting Silo, we can learn about the Silo wallet itself. Because, for example, we use MetaMask, but we didn't go to the MetaMask team to talk to them about it. We used MetaMask even without having talked to the people at MetaMask. So what I'm saying is that the technology is available. We just need to understand it so we can teach people. So I mean, so one more thing I'm going to add about that wallet is that it is what's called the wallet address is linked to your telephone number, just like M-Pesa. So as you're creating a wallet, Silver Foundation wallet or Silver Blockchain wallet, which is a USSD wallet, you want, I mean, they ask you to register with your telephone number. So your telephone number becomes your wallet address. Okay. And they have done massive research, not only in Kenya, in Nigeria as well, and also in Latin American countries like Peru, Colombia, Argentina. Okay, yeah. So the technology is there. So any other question? Okay.
There's no question in the chats, and if anyone has a question, please feel free.
All right. But
Oh, we can.
how is everybody doing? You see, I was worried that today we might have no internet, but the internet is good. Life goes on except what you are reading from the news. I'm talking about things on the ground in Kenya. Is it chaotic? No, because the news, if you read the news is always about crisis, report after report. But I think the reports are they can exaggerate in your mind because they're only specific incidents. But if you collect them together, they look like whole a whole chaotic situation is going on. Okay. Well, anyone, any comments, questions?
There are no comments so far, so maybe if we can move to summit announcements
Yes.
as we wait for anyone else to have any questions. I'm not saying Augustine.
Oh, that's how about Diana?
Diana, can you please give any updates on the summit announcements? Diana, maybe she's also having some issues with the net.
Yeah, there's so many connectivity issues. Okay, but basically the summit itself is for those people who want to participate in the summit. The poster competition is still open. Submit your poster abstract online, and the summit is actually growing very fast. This week alone, last week, we had so many new registration for presenters and even posters. So let's say you could say that it's moving at very high velocity. And I think by the end of July, even the posters we shall close down. So if you want to participate in the summit, make sure you submit your abstracts as soon as possible before you're closed off. Submitting an abstract does not cost you any money. Okay. So I think that's what I would say, that to encourage that there's besides all the other activities going on the ground in Kenya, everybody else is working. Everybody is doing their own job. Besides Maandamano, the business continues, and the summit is falling into place at a very rapid pace. Okay, I think we can close the meeting if there's no questions, concerns, or even philosophical thoughts. Yeah, let's hear some philosophy from people.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Damien.
Hello.
Hello, David.
Yes, Damien.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing almost you, Daniel.
Okay. Thank you very much. I can contribute
Yes.
about the quadrant funding before we stopped. I can contribute a little.
Yes.
I know that quadratic funding can indeed be applied to environment conservations, especially that have been said, including tree planting and other green initiatives. For example, quadratic funding is a mathematically optimal way to fund public goods within the democratic community, and sometimes it amplifies donations made by a large community over those made by a small group with deep pockets. You know that? And I can say like public goods like planting trees that benefit to everyone. and revolvers. And it doesn't mean to decrease the availability of others, maybe to contribute about planting trees. Let's imagine about a community that has been driven in planting tree projects. Individual has been crowdfund donations towards these tree plantings efforts. As we can see, these contributions has been matched by funds from the government, especially this private philanthropist. As I can say, using these grant programs, using this quadratic funding formula, especially these stakeholders concerning with the environment conservations, that uses most of the formulas to ensure that these projects are more bakers to receive a large allocations of the matching spoils. And this project with sometimes we widely spread in the community, benefit to support mostly. Let's take some of the really life examples from South Africa. Gitcoin grants used this quadratic funding to fund the public goods only, especially in this Ethereum's ecosystem. And most of the China's presidential hackathon has been leveraged a lot to quadratic voting for winning this project. But I can conclude like I can say like a quadratic funding can empower environment initiatives, but only by ensuring body participations and the fair allocations of these resources. So I can say we can conclude like let us keep planting trees and nurturing our planet. Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Damien. Damien, you sound to me like a friend of mine I knew in Dar es Salaam. Are you in Dar es Salaam?
Yeah, I'm Dar es Salaam from Tanzania.
Tanzania. Oh, are you studying there?
I'm not studying.
Are you in college?
I'm not in, but I'm currently I'm really involved in these issues of health science.
Health science, okay.
Health science, yeah, I'm in last year, so another issues of diploma have been completed some in last year now in the health science, yeah.
Okay, now will you be coming to speak at the summit?
Yeah.
From Dar es Salaam. Okay, that's
I'll
awesome.
be there.
Hmm?
I'll put a abstract someone shared me.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, so this is called the Umwan connected to me there, this Augustine.
Augustine.
Augustine,
Yes.
abstract, so I'll try to fill it.
Yes.
And I'll be there to the summit.
Awesome. And you come with a whole bunch of with a whole squad of people of Tanzania. Yeah. I guarantee you we shall stabilize the issues in Kenya by then.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
You're most welcome. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you. And you talked about Gitcoin South Africa. So they're doing quadratic funding for planting trees in South Africa, Gitcoin.
As I've been told, this system has already published to issues concerning with environmental conservations.
Yeah.
That things about this Gitcoins only to make people aware, as I can say, like they are trying to mobilize people, providing educations about this. And
Yes.
my dear friend said about the issues concerning with using mobile phones, so they are trying to using this community-led initiative that empower every day to believe that people can use and make the purpose and the mechanism of it. So this Bitcoin grants allow many users and organizations direct to fund their favorite open sources projects. And it sometimes was a very alternative way to the additional foundations grant that emphasizes community to more participations. And sometimes this impact of individuals has been donated to magnified using of this quadratic funding that has been distributed as one of the mechanisms that is you are using. And I can say in another concerning with maybe programs launch, Gitcoin grants lands, portals, launch, and supporting various areas. For example, they use the open source software, making early stages and mature builders across the Ethereum ecosystem. And sometimes they're using about this Web3 infrastructure, that is trending foundation infrastructure. And they're using a lot of developer tooling, which improve a lot of efficiency in OSS and Web3 development. And I was trying to doing a research about there, so about these dApps applications supporting innovative utilities and services that has led to climate solutions, and now has been accelerated too much to the blockchain that enabled the climate projects. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So, Gitcoin grants. Okay. Thank you for your contribution. That's very insightful. Anyone else with such insight? Thank you so much, Damian. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else with any questions or insights, comments, clarification? If there are no any, I shall be posting the form in the chat. As people are filling it out, you can also ask questions during that moment. I shall be giving 5 minutes for the form to be filled out.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Beacon. Thank you, everybody. You have a good night. Let's meet tomorrow. Let's meet tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you, Doc, for your insights as well and comments and enlightenment about how the bill, how we can go about handling the bill situation.
Well, I'm telling you, that thing is not a secret. They are trying to take us back. You know, and they don't come and tell you, okay, we want to own you again. Yeah, when I say they, you know who it is. Because as I said last week, that loan that we received our country with, that debt, it is managed by the IMF, International Monetary Fund. So in that whole conversation, did that International Monetary Fund come about? Yes, that International Monetary Fund is in Washington, D.C. And guess what? Where was our big shot last month? He was in Washington, D.C. What did he do? He came across those people. And then he plotted, explained to him, this is what you're going to do in your country, okay? Now go home and make people do that. Can you believe it? Yeah, sad. But we are now on the right side. We want to stay on the right side of the boat. Okay? All right. You have a good one. And let's meet tomorrow.
Thank you. I have posted the form and I'm giving 5 minutes for it to be filled out before I close. If anyone is facing any issues, you can ask